as The Rock may say, finally, Josh Bell has come to Pittsburgh. Finally, he's arrived. He's like 24 now. He's been known about as an outfield prospect for having a great hit tool, a great bat in the Pirates system. They moved him to first base just to get him up to Pittsburgh, to get him in the lineup because their outfield is so crowded. I mean, you may be torn on this guy. Is he good? Is he bad? Should I want him? And then, just in the last week or so, the news is broke that he had surgery to remove a loose body from his knee. I mean, it all sounds like reasons to avoid him, right? No, wrong. The timetable on that recovery is 2 to 4 weeks. Not something I'm necessarily concerned about. If you want to question, is he a power hitter? No, he's not. But he's big enough. He's a large dude to think that he's got 20 plus home runs in his bat. Is he a first baseman? No, he's not. But he's going to give you first base eligibility in fantasy. So unless you're a starting pitcher for Pittsburgh, you shouldn't necessarily be worried about him playing first base. You should be happy you can plug him in there in your fantasy lineups. As I mentioned, the Pirates have moved him there because they want his bat in the lineup. So if all these sound like negative things to you, what makes him so special? It's his plate discipline. The guy walks nearly more times than he strikes out. I mean, he's got insanely low K rate numbers throughout his career. He's got outrageously high walk rate numbers, and they're all legit. He's a career 300 hitter, over 1,800 minor league at-bats, and he's only gotten better with each level he's risen in the system. If you're wondering if this guy's in redraft, if he's already tasted the pros, why are we talking about him on a prospect show? It's because he still has prospect eligibility, and he might be stashed in some people's minor systems because he still has that eligibility to him. I know I'm one of the high guys on Bell. I just traded for him in the RAS 30. That is a 30-team league that Ralph is the commissioner of, that I am the new best owner of or in. I'm probably one of the higher guys in the industry on Bell. But Ralph, tell me why I'm wrong for being that high.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're necessarily wrong, but I think that a lot of people, over the last few years, because he's been a guy that's kind of been on dynasty managers, people that pay attention to prospects' tongues for at least a few years. Initially, I think he was a first-round talent that ended up dropping a few rounds because he had a strong commitment to Texas. Pittsburgh stepped up, gave him a huge multi-million-dollar signing bonus, and he decided to go pro. So he's been in the minors for a few years, kind of honing his craft. In terms of hit tool, this guy has an elite hit tool. This is a 300 hitter. This is a guy that's going to have high on-base percentages. But I think a lot of people look at the fact that he's 6'1", 240, actually lost 20 pounds in the offseason before he had the surgery doing yoga. So he's actually about 6'1", 220. So I don't know if the yoga had a negative effect on the knee and that's what happened. But he's trying to get more limber. But I don't think he's a player that necessarily is going to touch 20. I think long-term he's probably, a mid-homer guy. Reminds me a lot of James Loney with these hit tool guys. I always think that's a lazy comp, but I think that it's appropriate with him. It's his bat to ball skills are ridiculous. He doesn't hit a whole lot of fly balls, which I think is part of the problem with the homers, even in the homer happy major leagues, whether you believe those balls are juiced or not. He's only a 24% fly ball hitter. He's a 48.81% ground ball hitter. A lot of those are hard ground balls. He makes a lot of hard contact. So he's a guy that I think, right from the jump is somebody that's going to hit 300. Can certainly help you out, with batting average. Probably will drive in a fair amount of runs because of his control of the barrel of the bat. He's going to be able to move the ball to all fields, really hit the ball where the defense isn't. He's one of those classic kind of players. I do think that he has the elite hitting skills that potentially over the next few years as he hits his power prime could make adjustments, add a little bit more loft to his swing, and potentially could be that 20 hitter that a lot of people have projected him for when he was originally drafted. But I think the baseline tools are very good. I don't love him. He's probably going to be somewhere in the top, 30 to 40 range in my top 100. But I do think that he has a lot of redraft value. If he's somebody that you can grab at the end of drafts, he's your bench bat, or somebody you can use, in rotation in your corner infield spot if you're playing those sort of roto leagues with corner infield spots, or even a utility guy. I think that Bell is a good value because I think that the floor is so high in comparison to a lot of young players coming up. I don't think he's going to struggle with major league pitching.
Yeah, you say you don't think he'll touch 20, which means you think he'll touch teens, and that would be inappropriate, and we run a clean adult program here. So I do think he can be above 20 home runs. some of the comps to him have been James Loney, and I think it depends on which James Loney you're thinking of, because James Loney at one point in his prime was a solid first baseman, like, top half of the league first baseman. And I think Bell has that potential. And again, he's still young enough to think that he could develop the power. So if you're looking at a guy that's going to be top 20, top 15 first baseman based on average, based on, basically just all your counting stats other than power, I think it's a good baseline and a good floor. The standard for first baseman these days is 25 or more home runs, but even if he doesn't get there, the high average and the other stats he could give you could kind of offset that. And again, I still think he's going to get there. It might not be this year, but I think he does. Like I said, this is more of a redraft guy than a dynasty guy, even though he does have his minors eligibility. A lot of people seem to be passing on him. I'm telling you, I don't think you should be making that mistake. I like him for this year, day one, starting now.